What it do, man? We back again on another premiere. This right here is gonna talk about the underwear bomber. For those that don't know, it's supposed to be a kid that got on the airplane and tried to set off a bomb. It's gonna talk about how he was walked onto the bus by FBI or CIA officials, basically some kind of government that walked him on board. You know what I'm saying? For him to pull what he tried to pull. So we're gonna go ahead and go through that, and it's gonna talk about a whole lot more about the operations, about bringing terrorism and how terrorism really affects your brain. Let's just watch what I dropped back in 2012.
Yemen tonight. Does this mean that it is the new front in the war on terror? Log on to AC360.com for more on the secret U.S. military operations targeting al-Qaeda in an increasingly unstable region, including a blog from Peter Bergen. And right here when we come back, 3 passengers from Flight 253, a husband and wife, who are raising a provocative question tonight. Did the suspect possibly have help getting onto this flight? In fact, did this man even have a passport? That's ahead. Well, joining us now, passengers Kurt and Lori Haskell, who told authorities about a remarkable scene they witnessed at the gate in Amsterdam. Also with us tonight is Rochelle Keatman, who was on board that flight as well with her family, including her newly adopted brother and sister from Ethiopia. Good to have all of you with us. Kurt, I want to start with you because you say you witnessed the suspect at the airport and you saw something that really made you sit up and take notice. To walk us through what you saw in Amsterdam.
Sure. Lori and I were sitting near the boarding gate. Sitting on the floor, there weren't any seats to sit in. And I saw 2 men, and they caught my eye because they seemed to be an odd pair. One was what I would describe as a poor-looking black teenager around 16 or 17, and the other man, a age 50-ish, wealthy-looking Indian man, and I was just wondering why they were together. Kind of strange. And I watched them approach what I would call the ticket agent, the final person that checks your boarding pass before you get on the plane. And I could hear the entire conversation. The only person that spoke was the Indian man. And what he said was, this man needs to board the plane, but he doesn't have a passport. And the ticket agent responded, well, if he doesn't have a passport, he can't get on the plane. To which the Indian man responded back, he's from Sudan. We do this all the time. And the ticket agent said, well, then you'll have to go and talk to my manager. And she directed them down a hallway. And that was the last time that I saw the Indian man. And the black man I didn't see again until he tried to blow up our plane a few hours later.
And when did you put 2 and 2 together and realize that this, in fact, appeared to be the same man you saw who may not have had a passport?
I got a good look at him on the plane when we landed and the FBI was arresting him, and that's when I put it all together. I recognized him as the same man that I had seen before we boarded.
And I know everyone has been questioned who was on that flight. Lori, it's tough to understand, I think, especially for a lot of people watching this, and I'm sure for you who were sitting there, how anybody could be allowed on board an international flight without a passport. When you and your husband talked to authorities, when you told them what you saw, what was the reaction?
They seemed really interested in what we had to say. They talked to every family. A lot of the families they were talking to them for about 5 minutes or so. They talked to Kurt and I for probably about 15 minutes, maybe a little bit more. At one point, they called over another FBI agent to, I guess, witness what the other one was talking to us about. So I think that they were really interested in what we had to say about what we saw in the Amsterdam airport. However, the FBI and no other authorities have contacted us since then.
And does that seem odd to you, or did you figure that's just part of the investigation?
I don't know. It does seem a little bit odd if my husband is the only one that noticed this happening. I would think that we would have been contacted for further questioning, especially now with all of the media that's been contacting us.
It'll be interesting to see if they do contact you in the next few days. We hope you'll let us know as well. In terms of security, though, Rochelle, I know you have said, and Kurt and Lori talked a little bit about this, but Rochelle, you've said that you thought the security was actually a little bit lax in Amsterdam. How so?
Oh, absolutely. When we had to go through security, we didn't even have to take our shoes off. Also, my mom had a water bottle, forgot about it in her bag, and it scanned right through. So we brought it in and onto the plane. So,
were you concerned about that at all at the time, or was it more in hindsight you thought, well, wait a minute, what else could have gotten on the plane?
I compared it to the airports here, and that wouldn't be allowed. But at the same time, you're just so eager to get home, you don't think about that right then.
And especially for you traveling with your newly adopted siblings, obviously an exciting time for you and your family, but for these kids, I can only imagine how scary that must have been. You were at the rear of the plane, so you didn't actually see all this happening, but there's plenty of commotion. How did the kids handle it?
Well, our goal on the entire flight when this was occurring was to just not let these two children know what was going on. We agreed that we would just pretend that it was a big game, because these kids have been through so much in their lives that this just wasn't, they didn't need to know what was going on. So we turned it into, they don't speak English, and we turned it into more of a game and said, isn't this exciting? And we sang songs, and my dad and I and my mom, we all prayed together for safety, and that, if we weren't going to make it, that these children would never know what was really going on.
And we should point out, we're looking at some pictures of them there on the flight. That was actually the flight that got you to Amsterdam, not the flight from Amsterdam to Detroit. When all of this went down, I know that this man with the suspect was tackled pretty quickly by other passengers. Kurt and Lori, you were actually not too far, only a number of rows behind all of them. Was there anything else that you noticed or that stuck out about that incident, Kurt, as this man is being tackled?
I think I'll let Lori answer that. When this was going on, I was more focused on the fire, and she witnessed more of the altercation between the terrorists and the passengers.
And Lori, he seemed to be subdued pretty quickly.
Yeah, everything happened, it seemed like, in less than a minute. We saw smoke. We then saw flames going up the side of the plane near the seat where he was sitting. At that point, two people, one from behind him and one from the side of him, tackled him to the ground, and that's pretty much the last time we saw him. We were pretty freaked out by the fire, so we weren't paying attention to that. We were paying attention to the fire going up the side of the plane.
Understandable, obviously. And we just saw that the picture there. There's a still photo of the suspect on the plane. But I know, Rochelle, you believe there may actually be video of the incident?
Yeah, that was very strange. There was a man that, when we first took off, I noticed about 10 seats ahead of us to the left-hand side. He had a camcorder, and I didn't think much of it. I thought maybe this was his first flight and was just excited. And then when the actual incident occurred, I looked up, and he was the only one standing and filming the entire thing.
Interesting. There's obviously still so much more to come out about this. We really appreciate you joining us, Kurt and Lori Haskell, Rochelle Keatman, with your insight tonight. Good to have all of you with us. Thanks. Later, more on what Gene was talking about, whether technology may be the answer to better safety. We'll take a look at those scanners.
They got on a flight from Amsterdam into the United States, and they saw some very interesting things happen on the concourse, in the airport, into the plane, and on the plane. And, of course, he's a lawyer, a really good witness, trained to be able to document and be careful about what he says he saw. And the other witnesses are saying the exact same thing. Very, very bizarre. You have the sharp-dressed man leading the underwear bomber onto the plane through security, saying you have to let him on. He's from Sudan. You have someone videotaping reportedly the entire flight and aiming the camera at him. And I kept saying, why doesn't the FBI want to talk to Mr. Haskell, Kurt and Lori Haskell? And we appreciate him coming on right now. He had to come on in the last hour because the FBI was there just before he came on with us. So breaking news there. Kurt Haskell, again, who was on Flight 253 with the underwear bomber. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Hey, no problem. Glad to be here.
Well, tell us, again, a snapshot of any new developments or what the authorities just asked you about.
Okay. Yeah, I got a call early this morning that the FBI would be stopping in my office to talk to me sometime today, and they did. They left a little while ago. Our interview today was pretty similar to the interview they gave me while we were being detained in customs after we got off the plane, with one exception that I would say.
Now this was at least back like 2012. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is this is the stuff that they put out there and they set up to make you feel like terrorism and somebody gonna do something on the plane, when in actuality, from the beginning, nobody did nothing on no plane. You feel me? There's no terrorists getting on the plane and do all this by themselves. And half of them alleged terrorists in 9/11 wasn't even on them planes. Make that make sense?
And that was that they brought a stack of pictures they wanted me to look at and identify if I knew various people that they showed me. Pictures of people.
Did you recognize the Indian man, the smart dressed man?
No, he was not in any of the pictures.
Well, why wouldn't they have the airport footage? It's been 5 days. This is the biggest story ever. I mean, where is that surveillance footage from Amsterdam?
You know what I said to them? I said, did you guys bring the security video from Amsterdam? Wouldn't that be a more appropriate way to do this interview while we looked at security video? I don't think they liked that comment from me.
Well, it's common sense. I mean, you're a successful, smart lawyer. You're a sharp guy. But these FBI agents, they're sharp. They're accountants. They're lawyers. What's the deal?
That's what I said. Did you bring that video with you so we could go over it together? Wouldn't that be more appropriate? And I think that was an offensive comment to them.
Why would that be offensive? I mean, again, this is all part of the fake make work. We saw this with Oklahoma City and other suspicious events. They'll just bring a boatload of papers and stuff that doesn't matter, and then your information that is so vital will go into the deep six bin. And that's why I wanted to get you on, Mr. Haskell, but I think you're now experiencing what I wanted to warn you about vital witnesses just get ignored.
Well, I kind of want to keep this interview to me being an eyewitness and not me being expert testimony.
Are you talking about with the FBI or right now here on air?
No, what I'm saying is I want to keep, right here on air, I want to keep it to what I witnessed and not so much what my opinion is.
Absolutely, that makes sense to do that.
As possible, because I'm an expert. I'm an eyewitness in this case, not an expert witness, and I don't want anyone accusing me of having any kind of an agenda to discredit the facts of this case and what I've witnessed.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, that makes sense because...
Shoes off. Take your belt off. When you walk into the full-body radiation detector, hold your arms up.
You are under arrest.
It's question time. At question time, members of the studio audience step up to the microphone and ask the panel challenging questions.
Don't even try to make me get into the full body scanner. You'll be sorry.
You are under arrest.
If a tough-talking security official asks you to put your arms up when you step into the full-body scanner, it has a psychological impact.
All the air traveler has to do is stand legs apart with their hands over their heads, a bit like a person under arrest might do. And just like that, it's done. Easy enough?
Check and see if he's got a bomb where his left testicle should be.
They just want the public to get used to holding up their arms over their heads like they were under arrest.
Put your arms up. Somebody tried to blow up a passenger plane.
This, of course, will ensure that all those Patriot Act provisions will be continued.
What this is a problem of our success. It represents the deeper reach of the U.S. military over time. A certain capacity to wage system-level war, like nukes. A certain capacity to get below the level of nation-states, deal with individuals. I'm talking special operations forces, civil affairs. If you protest, they'll throw your hiney in jail.
This is basically Patriot Act plus.
In the early hours of a false flag attack like the one that happened on the plane landing in Detroit, some news organs, in this case CNN, will accidentally report facts that will quickly disappear.
It's tough to understand how anybody could be allowed on board an international flight without a passport. Did this man even have a passport?
I don't know.
And does that seem odd to you, or did you figure that's just part of the investigation?
My husband is the only one that noticed.
I saw two men, and they caught my eye because they seemed to be an odd pair. One was what I would describe as a poor-looking black teenager around 16 or 17. the other man a age 50-ish, wealthy-looking Indian man, and I was just wondering why they were together.
This is a protected patsy. In other words, this is a puppet controlled by U.S. intelligence.
The timing of this underwear bombing incident is very strange. I think it's a classic false flag operation.
Well-dressed Indian man who brings him to the gate for the U.S. flight says,
This man needs to board the plane, but he doesn't have a passport. And the ticket agent responded, well, if he doesn't have a passport, he can't get on the plane. To which the Indian man responded back, he's from Sudan. We do this all the time.
This is basically Patriot Act plus.
We should emphasize strategically is the inevitability of American power. If you break the rules, we can take you down. No questions asked.
this is a puppet controlled by intelligence, by U.S. intelligence, to stage a provocation.
They drop in, do their business, disappear. See me now, don't talk about it later. Special operations, civil affairs. You want an operating theory of the world since 9/11? 9/11-like system perturbations, vertical shocks to the system, terror. It's the ultimate psyop, existential dissuasion, terror.
The 23-year-old Nigerian who'd passed through security and was being watched by intelligence services in several countries.
It's question time. At question time, members of the studio audience step up to the microphone and ask the panel challenging questions.
Don't even try to make me get into the full body scan or you'll be sorry.
You haven't got a clue what's in store for you.
Let the system fail. It is not too big to fail. It is too big to succeed. They are afraid of us.
Stop that! Damn it.
You are under arrest.
You'll regret it.
That kid needs a spanking.
Especially true if they were told that there was an outside threat beyond whether free or promulgated that threatened our very existence. It is then that all people of the world would pledge with world leaders to deliver them from this evil. The only thing every man fears is the unknown.
I'm a Jew, he a Jew, she a Jew, we some... Alright, this is the part where I talk, man. As you can see, the whole terrorist thing was put out there to take your rights away. You know what I'm saying? And to start off this NWO New World Order. Okay? They've been staging this terrorist crap from day one, bro. From day one. Just to come at you with more propaganda. You know what I'm saying? The underwear bomber was a patsy. Just like, the dude that shot JFK, dude that shot Martin Luther King, you know what I'm saying? Just like, Eric Holder, in my opinion, I think he was like a, you know what I'm saying? He probably did it, or he probably didn't. But at the end of the day, they gonna say he did it, because they wanted Nipsey gone. So you gotta understand what's going on. They usually always got a patsy, somebody they can blame, right? Somebody they been messing with, somebody that didn't juice their head up. You know what I'm saying? They took this kid, and he might have been an adult, because he didn't look too young, but ain't no telling. Because the other report said he was 23, the other one said he was 16, 17, or 15, somewhere in there. You know what I'm saying? So, at the end of the day, what we know is, he was put on there to do what he did, so they can make that headline, and probably send him back to where he come from, and he probably over there chilling right now. But they keep feeding the image to y'all and tell you terrorism, terrorism, just so you can get scared so they can pass laws. They did that same thing with 9/11. There was people on airplanes that didn't die, that they kept showing them like they did. But anyway, it's your boy D, man. I'm signing out. If you ain't getting knowledge, you ain't getting nothing. I do this.